Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
I've posted over 1,000 videos, and in several dozen of them I've addressed driver's licenses, driving laws, and other things involving automobiles on the roadways of America. And almost every day, I get someone who chimes in the comment section below one of my videos about driver's licenses and the law involving driver's licenses. And so I've decided today to do a top 10 list. The top 10 myths about driving or driver's licenses. And they call them driver's licenses someplace, driver licenses someplace, or driving licenses. But the point is, the top 10 myths, these are not true, but these are statements that people will post daily somewhere on my channel underneath the thousands of videos. And these are in no particular order. I'm not going to do a David Letterman to put funniest one at the top. These are simply 10 myths that I hear all the time that are not true. Number 1, the federal definition of driving is a professional driver. Therefore, no one who is amateur driving does not need a driver's license. And of course, the federal definition of driving, often yank, is out of the USC section on hijacking, and it's under the criminal code. It does not address regular people who are driving and does not address driver's licenses in general. It simply defines a driver with respect to hijacking. So if you claim you were hijacking, that's been prosecuted under the federal code. If you're a professional driver, yes, that definition applies to you. That definition, however, does not have anything to do with regular people's driver's licenses. So there you go. Number 2, it's all maritime law. Now this one actually gets thrown in both on driver's licenses and courts. For some odd reason, this really, really weird, like matrix theory type conspiracy thing popped up on the internet about 10 years ago, that everything is actually maritime law. The gold fringe flag is an admiralty flag. The judges in the courtroom are up there, and they're actually in the bow of a ship. And when you enter the dock, see, it's all code, you're actually operating within maritime law. So the sooner you figure out the maritime law, the sooner you can get out of court. The problem is they use regular law books in court, and none of that's maritime law. So this maritime law stuff is just nonsense. Number 3, traveling is constitutionally protected. Therefore, you cannot inhibit my ability to travel. Number 1, traveling is not actually laid out as something you have the right to do in the Constitution. But number 2, traveling is simply moving around. And that is true. You're allowed to move about the country at your leisure. The method in which you do it, however, can be controlled the same way the FAA controls airplanes. And I've had people say, no, Steve, I can drive on the roadway because traveling. Doesn't say that in the Constitution, does it? Besides that, in that case, could you drive an army tank down the street? Well, that's not reasonable. Well, if you can do it in a car, why can't you do it in an army tank? So traveling, the ability to move around, again, might be something you're allowed to do. How you do it is absolutely something that the courts have upheld countless times, and they can require driver's licenses. So the idea that you don't need a driver's license, all you're doing is traveling, is just silly. Number 4, there's no law that actually says you need a driver's license. Show me the law. I've had people write to me from almost every state in the country now and say, Steve, show me the law in South Carolina. Show me the law in Idaho. I had a guy bet me money. He goes, you can't show me the law in California. I found it in less than 30 seconds. I sent it to him and he stopped corresponding with me. I'm like, dude, you owe me some money. In almost any state, simply type in Michigan law, driver's license requirement, and up will pop MCL 257, I forgot the number, but every state's got one. There is a law on the books. So the idea that there's no law that actually says that, show it to me. Most people say that when they don't think you're carrying around law books. Nowadays, most people are carrying around smartphones. You can Google it, and ruin that argument very, very quickly. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Driver is defined in Black's Law Dictionary as someone who drives professionally. Therefore, that trumps everything. Dictionaries are not the law. Black's Law Dictionary is not the law. And they always point out the oldest Black's Law Dictionary, not the most modern Black's Law Dictionary. Why would you consult a 100-year-old archaic book that's out of print when even the books that have replaced it define driver better? But Black's Law Dictionary is not the law. Again, it is simply a dictionary. Okay, number six. The Supreme Court has ruled that there are no driver's licenses necessary. And I have people keep sending me the same cases over and over and over again. And number one, the cases they send me are not Supreme Court cases. I've said this before, I did an entire video on this. To find out if a case is a Supreme Court case, you look at the citation, and the citation will be a number, U.S., and a number. If it has anything else other than U.S. in there, it's not a U.S. Supreme Court case. I get cases out of Virginia, cases out of Chicago. Those aren't Supreme Court cases. The Supreme Court has never ruled. And one of the reasons that this myth won't die is if you Google the phrase Supreme Court driver's licenses, up will pop a website with a photograph of the 9 Supreme Court justices, and it says, Supreme Court's ruled you don't need a driver's license. And down below it lists a bunch of cases that are not Supreme Court cases. And people who are not aware of how this works goes, hey, there's a website. The website said so. Number 7, you cannot be convicted of a driving offense or a traffic offense or a civil infraction involving a driving offense because there's no victim. Show me the victim. I get that one a lot. In fact, that's the one that inspired today's video. Someone posted that underneath a bunch of my videos yesterday. Show me the victim. Show me the victim. I can picture them doing this. Show me the victim. Courts have repeatedly ruled that regulations can be put in place to protect society. And if you break such a regulation, you can be held accountable for it. And if you say, who's the victim? Show me the victim. Well, the courts are basically saying the victim is society. Okay? I don't want people doing some things in my neighborhood, and I'm glad they passed laws against it. And so when somebody does it in my neighborhood and they get arrested, technically, I'm the victim because I was in the neighborhood. It's my neighborhood. It's not that complicated, people. But show me the victim. Huh? Show me the Supreme Court case that says all laws must have victims. Number 8, police need to tell you why they pulled you over. And if you watch the videos, in particular on YouTube, of sovereign citizens who actually videotape themselves and post it, making it, like they think it makes them look smart. Police officer walks up to the car, goes, driver's license, registration, and the sovereign citizen goes, why? What did I do wrong? Cop goes, license and registration. Why? What did I do wrong? Now, they could do that all day long, and they often do, but figuratively speaking. But there's no law. It says police officer has to tell you why he pulled you over. There's no law. Show me that law. Better, the Supreme Court has specifically said the police don't have to tell you anything unless they charge you with a crime. They don't have to. They don't have to tell you. Now, a police officer can tell you if he wants to, but the idea that you don't have to give him your license until he tells you why he pulled you over is an absolute fallacy. And in fact, most states, all of them as far as I know, require you, when asked by a police officer and you're on the roadway, to provide them a driver's license to prove that you are licensed to drive. You must do so upon demand of a police officer. It doesn't say upon demand of a police officer after he's told you why he pulled you over and you've agreed with him. It would fall apart if they actually required that. Can you imagine that? So police do not need to tell you why they stopped you. Number 9, calling a supervisor will help you. Now, this is not a legal one so much, but if you watch the videos of the guys at the side of the road, they'll often go, I want a supervisor. Call a supervisor. And this is like one of those stupid tricks that they learned a long time ago. That many police departments, if you demand a supervisor at the side of the road, will actually send a supervisor. Another police officer is going to show up and go, yeah, how can I help you? He won't tell me why he pulled me over. Doesn't have to. Well, you tell me why he pulled me over. I don't know. I just got here. Well, do you have your driver's license, please? Why do you pull me over? Doesn't have to tell you that. Well, I want a supervisor. I am a supervisor. I want your supervisor. I've seen them do that. They won't usually send out the supervisor's supervisor. And as you can imagine, eventually you'd wind up with the supervisor, the chief of police, the mayor, and then I guess the governor at the side of the road going, can we see your driver's license? Why do you pull me over? So calling a supervisor will not help you. And number 10, the myth is that your driver's license is a contract. See, You contracted with the state, so now you're stuck. You're stuck. You gotta follow their rules. I'm smart. I didn't contract with the state. I've got no driver's license. Therefore, they can't write me any tickets. If I could only tell you how many times I've been in court and seen people being charged and prosecuted successfully for driving without a license. Turns out there's a law against it. And the fact that you have a driver's license means that if you've done things correctly, you are legally allowed to drive. It is not a contract. Now, I could explain a contract to you, but a contract is actually a concept that they have entire classes on in law school that takes semesters to teach contract laws. I'm not going to get into all of that because I don't got that kind of time, and I doubt that you do either. But a contract generally is where two parties enter into an agreement and they exchange things to evidence the agreement, and that's a contract, okay? And a typical contract is I agree to buy a car from you, I sign a purchase agreement, give you a down payment, somewhere down the road I give you money, you give me a car. That's a sales contract, purchase a car. A driver's license is not a contract. It is a license. But the fact that it's a license should be pretty clear it's not a contract. But I've had people say, well, you contracted. That's a contract you entered into. So what's the contract? And they go, oh, the contract is that by accepting this license and you give me permission to drive, I agree to follow your laws and rules. Well, I guess I can kind of see what you're trying to say there, but the problem is that those laws and rules apply to everyone on the road, whether or not they have a license. And also, what if they have a license from another state? So someone from Ohio drives into Michigan and gets pulled over by a police officer. They don't have a contract with the state of Michigan. If they had a contract with the state of Ohio. So they didn't contract. So can they just do whatever they want willy-nilly here in Michigan and get away with it? Because they have no contract with Michigan. So it's a myth that your driver's license is a contract. So one more time from the top. And I've done entire videos on some of these. But number one, the federal definition of driver means that you don't need a driver's license. Nonsense. Number two, it's all maritime law anyways. It's not. Number three, traveling is constitutionally protected, which it might be, but that doesn't mean you can drive a car. Number four, no law actually says you need a license, despite the fact that all 50 states have got laws like that. Most people are just too lazy or don't know where to look. Number five, driver is defined in Black's Law Dictionary. Yeah, it was. And it's been more defined more lately in newer versions, but they don't like the new versions, they like the old versions, but Black's isn't law, it is a dictionary. Number six, the Supreme Court has ruled you don't need a driver's license. They never have. Number seven, they cannot convict you because there's no victim. Show me the victim. Number eight, police need to tell you why they've stopped you. No, they don't. Number nine, call a supervisor. That'll help you. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, it won't help you, it'll hurt you. Because when the supervisor comes out and has wasted his time out there, he's going to turn to his lesser officer and say, by the way, throw everything in the book at them. Write them up for everything, for making us waste our time like this. And number 10, your driver's license is a contract. You contracted. Now that you contracted, you can't get out of that contract. Driver's license is not a contract. There you go. Questions, comments, put them below those. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. The website you seek cannot be located, but endless others exist.